Picture this. A toddler can't spell their own name yet, but they can unlock an iPad, ask a voice assistant for a bedtime song, and navigate YouTube like a pro. If you're raising a Gen Alpha kid, or a one yourself, you know that endless screen glow, tablets at dinner, Roblox after school, guesses are answering questions faster than any adult ever could. So here's the big question. What happens to the human brain when technology isn't introduced, but inherited? Generation Alpha didn't adapt to the digital world. They were born into it. Touchscreens feel as natural as toys. It doesn't feel futuristic. It feels normal. And while some people worry this generation is overstimulated, distracted, or disconnected, psychology tells a more interesting story. Because yes, their brains are different, but different doesn't mean broken. In many ways, it means powerfully rewired for the future. Gen Alpha is the first generation raised in a non-stop stream of notifications, videos, and instant feedback. From a psychology lens, this creates what we call dopamine loops. Tiny hits of pleasure every time something new appears. Swipe, tap, win, restart. Does that shorten attention spans? Sometimes. But here's the twist. It doesn't mean they can't focus. It means they focus differently. Their brains are trained for fast pattern recognition, rapid switching, and visual problem solving. Think of it like this. Older generations trained for marathon focus. Gen Alpha trains for obstacle courses. Thanks to neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to rewire itself, their minds adapt quickly to new rules, new interfaces, new environments. That's why a Gen Alpha kid can jump from a game to a video to homework and still know exactly what's going on. Overstimulated? Sometimes. Mentally agile? Absolutely. For Gen Alpha, AI isn't scary. It's friendly. It talks back. It helps with homework. It turns ideas into art. Some kids don't ask parents questions first. They ask AI. And psychologically, that changes how curiosity works. Instead of memorizing facts, Gen Alpha learns how to ask better questions. Why? Because information is always available. This encourages creative cognition, the ability to remix ideas, imagine alternatives, and experiment freely. Think about a kid using AI to generate music, design characters, or build virtual worlds. That's not passive consumption. That's co-creation. AI becomes a creative partner, not just a tool. Of course, there's a risk of over-reliance, but there's also a massive upside. Gen Alpha grows up believing that imagination has fewer limits. If you can picture it, you can build it, often with help from a machine that never gets tired. No textbooks? Maybe. But infinite creative sandboxes? Definitely. Kids today don't know how to socialize, that's the myth. Gen Alpha just socializes differently. Their friendships often start in digital worlds, Roblox servers, group chats, shared games, and then spill into real life. Psychologists call this hybrid socialization, blending virtual and physical connection. In online spaces, kids practice collaboration, negotiation, leadership, and conflict resolution, sometimes with people from different countries and cultures. That builds social adaptability. They learn how to read tone through text, manage group dynamics, and express identity through avatars and creativity. Do they still need face-to-face skills? Of course, and many parents are now intentionally balancing screen time with real-world play. The result? A generation that can switch between worlds without losing themselves in either. No playgrounds, sure, but infinite digital neighborhoods, and real ones too. Gen Alpha's early years were shaped by global uncertainty. Pandemics, remote learning, rapid tech shifts, and constant change. And strangely, that instability trained something powerful: psychological flexibility. When schools moved online, they adapted. When routines disappeared, they rebuilt them. When the world paused, they kept learning through screens. Psychologists know that early exposure to change, when supported, can strengthen resilience pathways in the brain. Gen Alpha learned early that plans can change overnight, and life still goes on. They're less attached to one way of doing things. They pivot fast. They recover quickly. That doesn't mean they don't need guidance or emotional support. They do. But it does mean they're growing up emotionally prepared for a world that refuses to slow down. They don't expect stability. They expect evolution. Here's the big takeaway. Generation Alpha isn't overwhelmed by the future. They're designed for it. Their brains are optimized for learning new systems, collaborating with technology, and adapting to constant updates. In psychology, this is called cognitive flexibility, and it's one of the most valuable traits in an unpredictable world. They'll likely change careers multiple times, work alongside AI naturally, solve problems that don't exist yet, and innovate in ways older generations can't even imagine. Because Gen Alpha doesn't see technology as separate from life. It is life. Yes, they'll face challenges. Every generation does. But they also carry a massive edge. Comfort with complexity, creativity without fear, and adaptability as a default setting. They're not losing their humanity, they're expanding it.